Hello, welcome to Let's Make a List. Today is Friday, 2 o'clock. Every Friday at 2 o'clock, I'm here with you in the KPCA studio, KPCA LP 103.3 FM, online at kpca.fm, just so you know. My name is Phil. This is the show where we take some kind of topic having to do with pop culture. It may be TV, it may be movies, it may be music, it may be books, something else. Make a list and discuss our picks, our choices, our options, our topics. Today, we have a very special guest. You know her from this show and other shows. And as Ariel.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Ariel. How's it going today?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm good, too.
Hey, good.
Good. So, speaking of today we have a topic. We had one topic, and then I started thinking about it and went, I don't want to do this topic. And that was, we're going to talk about movies with the best like twists or reveals in them. And then I just felt like all we're doing is spoiling movies. It's fun to talk about, but I feel like if you're just going through the radio stations and you land on it, then they just hear people talking about the end of movies.
Citizen Kane, Rosebud.
Yep. They're definitely not a movie I've watched all of because I was bored.
Sled.
Have you watched all of Citizen Kane?
I've never watched a single second of Citizen Kane.
It's for me it's boring.
I said that like I was like, how dare you ask me that question? I've just never actually, like, all the times that I've used it for reference, as a reference point, there's nothing to back that up.
Yeah.
I've read about it, but I've never watched it.
It's influenced by Hearst, right? It's his name, not Herbst.
Yeah, it's Hearst.
I never remember which is which.
Hearst and Herbst.
Yep.
Two people.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of movie knowledge you get on this show. So
Real deep stuff.
Excuse me. I should see. 1 second. I just be able to find a clock. There we go. All right. So as we were saying, we're not doing that topic today. We're doing the topic of movies that made us want to go out and learn something or read about it or pursue it or something like that. Influenced us to do something. Yeah. Not necessarily influential movies. They are in a way, but when people say influential movies, I usually think of more kind of
like changing thought.
Yeah.
Political.
This is more of like, that looks cool.
Growth.
What's that? How do you do that? But like always, we're not there yet. We got some other stuff to do first.
Heyo.
Hello.
What time is it? It's time to talk about
Public Domain Movie of the Week.
Awesome.
Yay. So if you listened last week, let me real quick. Public Domain Movie of the Week. I watched a movie that's considered to be in the public domain, and I see if I can sit through it, try to lengthen my attention span and appreciate older things.
How's it working?
Older. Not great. But you got me a fidget spinner, which actually it does help. I used that this morning when I watched this week's. Because we've had a busy week, we've had people visiting and other things going on. I watched another short one, 25 minutes.
Oh wow.
This one was called,
and it was a full movie?
No, it was called Last Clear Chance, and it was a movie. It was like a driver safety film from 1959, sponsored by Union Pacific Railroad. So this was 1959. I watched it in color. I don't know if it was colorized after or not, but it looked all right. And yes, it's like a driver's ed video, basically. Like, I would not be surprised if they showed it in driver's ed at some point. And it's told, like, they tell a story about a family. And at the beginning of it, there's a sheriff who's the narrator, who's sheriff or a police officer or something for a small town in Idaho. And he's at a funeral. And then he goes, I'm not going to go in. It's too tough to see someone from a family I know. And then he tells the story. But first they have that awkward thing they have in older movies where they have voiceover, but they just, for the video, they just have one long shot of the person's face. So they have to kind of make expressions on their face, and they don't.
Because it's like internal.
Yeah, internal. Monologue. Yep. And so that is always a little interesting. Oh, we have a cat in the studio. Meow. All right, I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can. So
she's gonna try.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, just so you know, we're not cruel. We didn't actually bring a cat in the studio. We're at home right now, pre-recording this. Don't want people to go like, oh, geez, cats don't want to just be taken into radio stations and.
Some people do.
That's true. That's a good point.
Cats, same thing.
That's true. Our cats would hate that.
Yes, they would.
Yes.
They would
And I
blind
just
us in our
assume all
sleep.
cats are exactly like ours.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we named them Cat 1 and Cat 2.
Cat 1 and Cat A.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, a couple things about this movie. It's not bad. It's just like a driver's ed video, and I guess they had a good message, basically saying don't do stupid things while you drive, don't break laws, because every time you break a law driving, even if it's a small one, you're gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you do something 1,000 times and it's okay, one of those times, you might end up killing yourself or someone else. It all kind of leads to people. The whole story is this police officer telling this family basically how to drive well because the kid has just got his license. And then the older brother and the kid at the end to go out and say, well, let's go on a drive together. And they're in two different cars.
Mm-hmm.
And the older brother and his girlfriend are driving ahead, and they are like having fun because the younger brother gets to drive, and they're looking back behind them and waving. And so they're not looking in front of them. So they drive straight into a train and die. So that's the big thing at the build up is look out for trains, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of things, but that's Union Pacific Railroad sponsored it, so they don't want cars hitting their trains. And so it's a serious thing, and it was like, yeah, it had some cheesy acting and stuff, but it wasn't any worse than other movies I've seen from this time. And it was a pretty serious subject with a good message. So you know what? It's all right. It's fine. Apparently Mystery Science Theater did an episode where they did it, and I'm curious to see if that's like, apparently it was a big hit, but I haven't watched it. A couple things though. I do have bad things to say about it.
Surprise.
Yep. It was sexist. So every movie and video from like before 1960 and most after are very sexist.
Yeah.
And this one, a couple things. First, they're talking about the older brother and how he went away to college, and they said it was Frank Jr. Frank Jr. went away to college, and his girlfriend waited for him. Of course, they said of course.
Oy.
It's like, yep, because women just.
Well, I mean, Phil.
Yeah.
You've met me. That's all I do. I wait for when you're done with whatever you're doing, so that you can look at me, and then I know I can talk to you. Yeah. And then I know I can bask in the glory of the light of your gaze.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's my purpose.
Good point. Hey, smiles. Radio smiles. Another thing, also, all the police officers and highway patrolmen, and I say men because every single one was men, and the last minute of the movie is just a weird montage of police officers saluting, and they're all men, of course. And every time that there's someone driving a car, it's a man, unless there's one time was a woman driving, but she's the only one in the car. Every other time there's just a man driving by himself or a man with a woman in the passenger seat driving.
Fun.
Yep. It's just things like that are just and when they the story only had one woman in it. All the characters, and it was just like, yeah. So sorry everybody that this is what the world is. And it's gotten better in many ways, but not as good as it should be, obviously.
Do you think that they thought anybody would be watching that movie with that depth?
Well, no, but the Wikipedia article for this short movie is longer than most full-length film Wikipedia pages. It has the plot, a long plot summary, talks about the actors, the production, the release, and how it would the reception and stuff like that. And it also has filming locations. It has like from 1 minute and 27 seconds to 260. No, there's less than 60 seconds in a minute. Good job. But you know what I mean? They have very specific filming locations, and they have the degrees, latitude, longitude. That's how specific this is. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So
that's so nuts.
Yep. And they're just like, everything's pretty much in a rural town. So it's just like dirt roads and stuff. And it's like, how, what? And it's on Wikipedia.
Phil, that's really important.
There was a lot of details. It was
You've got to know
surprising.
which rural road you're going to go driving down.
That's true.
If you want to educate yourself on the Americana of terrible movies that were filmed all over this great nation.
Yep. So I think that's all I had to say about that.
Nice.
It was fine. It had the sexism, but besides that, it was less disgusting than the war propaganda one I saw.
Yes.
Where it was very anti Japanese people. I might watch this another time, but I think it would just put me in a bad mood, where there's a propaganda one in film in the public domain, whereas during the time of the Japanese internment, and it's a thing saying how it's not racist and how it actually is good, and loyal Japanese people would kindly go and do that, and just trying to excuse Japanese internment. I'm like, all right. That would be interesting to watch, but it would be
very, very sad and very, very frustrating.
Yep.
Stronger words. It would make you angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have to say about that.
Blech.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You survived another one.
Thank you very much. So this is some kind of interesting that doesn't really have to do with pop culture, but it has to do with Petaluma. I just read about it yesterday or 2 days ago. There was, you probably saw the Nix alert that said that there was a street closure. There was at a chicken egg production plant or I don't know what they're called, factory, I guess. There was a giant protest where a lot of people went, and I forgot the group's name. Sorry, I don't know details, but they went and protested against animal cruelty, and they went. I don't remember how many it was. I can look up the article.
By yesterday, you mean Tuesday the 29th?
Yeah, I just read about it recently, but it was in the Press Democrat.
Since we're recording this in the past.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
and we're talking about like real stuff in the real world.
Yeah.
We should like ground it.
Or it might have been the Argus. I don't know. But anyway, it was recently. It was this week. And here we go. Found it. All right. Sorry. See, yeah, you can find this article in the Press Democrat. But dozens of animal welfare activists were arrested after a large protest at Petaluma Chicken Farm. A farm.
Wow.
It was the group. It said 500 demonstrators.
Wow.
There. Yeah. And it was the group, Berkeley-based group, Direct Action Everywhere.
Wow.
So I was a little surprised I didn't hear about that before. And but yeah, they went
you're on a lot of like chains of
animal rights
calls
stuff.
to action.
Yeah. And so they went and they I think they went in there and they freed a couple of the chickens. They took a few of them or something, and then police came. The protesters were, this is according to the article, were peaceful. And then they went onto the property of the farm or something like that. And then police arrested them, and like a bunch got arrested and taken to the jail and stuff. But it didn't get violent, looks like, at all. But the protesters were they wanted to go bring because the media showed up, so I wanted to bring the police into the place to say this is what the
you can't have that, because then you'll see the conditions of your food, and you can't have that because then you might stop buying into that industry.
Yeah. And so they refused to let them do that. And again, with this specific place, I don't know if they are great and they follow the laws and everything. Who knows? But but even when they follow laws, I have my opinions where I think it still counts as animal cruelty a lot.
Yeah.
But this is nothing specific about this farm or anything. I'm just saying in general animal cruelty. But
well, you are You yourself are a big animal lover. You absolutely advocate for that, but you're also like vegetarian and kind of on and off vegan.
Yeah,
so it's like
vegan, yeah.
your ideology is that you don't want to eat animals.
Right.
So you are informed by that, but you're not going to just like cast aspersions on people without doing your research, because you are somebody who does way more research than most people. So I want to back you up on saying like you're not pointing fingers at anybody because you haven't done your personal research.
Right.
And no, you don't know that for a fact.
And remember, this is my own personal
Yes.
opinion, belief. It does not represent KPCA in any way.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting, and I liked that the local press covered it and wrote an article about it, and it didn't paint either side as it seemed neutral in a way.
I really miss journalism that's neutral.
Yeah, and I hope that it inspires journalists to deepen more and try to actually, if there are horrible, illegal things going on, hopefully it'll be revealed. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said the name of the company, but it was in the article.
It was in the article, and again, like you said, the article was not accusatory. It wasn't judgmental, and neither are you being. You're just saying. There was a protest event, and it was actually pretty big, and we didn't hear about it, but we did get a Nixla alert.
Yeah, there's street closure.
And that we didn't know what it was about, and that's what it was about.
Yeah.
So small world, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also good for people for protesting things peacefully.
Yeah.
And I do hope that it was peaceful, because I feel like that's a really, really good way to get your statement heard.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times out of others, there are other times when that isn't feasible.
Right.
But like, good for you guys for keeping, especially like 500 people.
Yeah.
Keeping 500 people from going insane. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go on to our list?
Yes.
Our list. So yes, we are talking about movies that made us want to learn more about a topic or pursue something, or research, which is the same as learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Inspired us to do something specific.
Cool.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of movies. I will talk about the ones that... Do you have any documentaries on yours?
No.
All right. I'll do documentaries quickly at the end.
Cool.
Because documentaries, most of them they're kind of made for that.
Every documentary I've ever seen has been amazing and has changed my life. And I will tell you right now that not a single one of them passed through my mind when I was writing this list, because I need to start being like you, where I actually keep like a coherent list of things that I've seen, because when I need to remember things, I don't.
Well, it's part of the fun for me.
I know.
I like keeping lists.
And so I need to wait, what? That's so weird. But I need to watch this documentary of our lives called Let's Make a List and be inspired by it to make lists. Nailed it. I nailed it.
Speaking of that.
Yep.
Do you want me to start?
Yes. It's your show.
First one movie that popped in my mind was That Thing You Do. Made me want to be a drummer.
That's very cool.
I remember seeing it with my family, and then we went to Mary's, I think, to eat after, and I was using the silverware to drum on the table and stuff, and it was just like, I want to be a drummer so bad. I don't know, when did that come out? That was probably
in the 90s.
Probably late 90s. So it was probably early teens, maybe. Let me see.
That's a pretty cute origin story too, because when we first met, I actually thought that you were a drummer.
Well, I did.
I thought that was like 100% your focus, that you were like drumming every day so that you could be a drummer. And you are a drummer. Like, you are a percussionist at heart, because like if you sit still for too long, you start working on some sort of like orchestral drumming. And it's very impressive. I wish that I had that, but I don't.
I think because our family, we wanted a drum set for a while, and then we had to wait till we were in a house where we could have one without getting the cops called. And the cops still, my parents live now. They have space, but cops still were called on them a few times. People complained. One person complained, but anyway.
Ooh,
yeah,
girl.
But I think that kind of got our family going, yeah, we really should get a drum set. And we got it, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I liked that movie just because the main guy was a drummer. It didn't really, because I already played guitar some. For some reason, it didn't make me want to play guitar more or sing or play bass. Just drumming.
Well, I mean, he wears sunglasses at some point in that movie, right? And he's got like a pretty nice suit, and then he sits behind a drum set, drum kit. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for inspiration. Yeah. You put on the sunglasses just right. I got to do that thing. Whatever it was that made him put on sunglasses.
The thing you do.
Yep.
Cool. What's one on your list?
All right. I'm going to start smart on my list. And then I'm going to end very whimsically. All right. So the first one on my list is, this is the one thing on my list that made me want to go out and research something. Everything else, because I was having a hard time thinking of things. Everything else on my list is stuff that made me want to do that thing, made me want to be that thing. You do. So this movie is Agora, which starred Rachel Weisz. This came out.
I don't know what that is.
I've talked to you about it before.
Probably just don't remember the name.
Right. And it came out a few years ago. So like 2009-ish, I think. The word Agora means basically what like a forum is in Rome. It's like a meeting place. But here's the Wikipedia description of the movie. Stars Rachel Weisz as a female mathematician, philosopher, and astronomer in late 4th century Roman Egypt, who investigates the flaws of the geocentric Ptolemaic system and the heliocentric model that challenges it. Surrounded by religious turmoil and social unrest, Hypatia, the character she plays, struggles to save the knowledge of classical antiquity from destruction. So everything takes place in the city of Alexandria before it was destroyed. And it kind of starts to explain like why it was destroyed. And it's fiction, but it's based on real things. Hypatia was a real person who was a female mathematician. And that was something that upset a lot of people, a lot of men, because that was something that was possible. Yeah. And she, as well as other philosophers and mathematicians of the time, it was basically heresy and blasphemy to suggest that the Earth was not the center of the universe. Right. That's the geocentric term. The heliocentric one, that the universe, or the galaxy, the universe, everything. Well, the galaxy rotates around the sun, was heresy. And she supported that. She discovered that the Earth doesn't just like do one like crazy loop. It actually does little ellipses on its own axis while it's following the larger axis. And so it was like a really, really complicated mathematical idea. And if she had been allowed to live and hadn't been murdered because of her ideas and because she was a woman speaking and thinking, it's interesting to think where we would have been if that kind of scientific thought had been allowed to thrive that early on, because it took until Galileo, in the Renaissance for that kind of scientific thought to come back. And this was 4th century. So this was a long, long time ago.
I'm surprised that there are still records that exist that they allow these records to exist to show that a woman.
Well, like in the movie, there's this scene, because in Alexandria it was supposedly the library of the known world, essentially, the known white world, but white-ish world. But there were supposed to be all these scrolls and things that had like all this vast knowledge, and that library was eventually destroyed, and it actually gets destroyed in the movie. And how you see it is that there are pagans, and she is one of them, and pagan basically meant you were not Jewish, and you were not Roman, and you were not, Christian. You didn't believe in these overarching religions. There's a scene where all these pagans go to hide in the library because they want to protect all the knowledge that's there. And there are people outside threatening to burn it down and to destroy it because they want their version of the truth to be the only one, and they wanted to destroy everything else. And so she and a few others only managed to save a few things before everything is destroyed. And I don't remember for sure, but I think that that's kind of the idea of maybe what happened realistically, is that some things that were out in circulation or that there were copies of are what we have today that are like the oldest things. But that in this magical library that once existed, there was supposed to be so much more. So that like what we know of the ancient world is a teensy little bit. But
this made you want to be a drummer?
yeah, I wanted to put on those sunglasses. But this made me want to research it. And clearly I don't remember it very much because when I read about it, it was like 9 years ago. But it was very, very sad to discover that someone so long ago could, and she wasn't the only one, there were others, other philosophers, but somebody who could have come across such advanced thought. And like, what would our world have been like if people weren't afraid to allow for scientific thinking to thrive and live alongside religious thinking?
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really sad.
Yeah.
And to find out that there was such a very, very smart woman who had that role in society. So cool. Sorry, I talked about it for a long time.
Right. It's similar things going on now where people who are comfortable in their way of life, they go like, I don't care about progress.
We haven't changed.
Progress doesn't do anything for me.
We haven't changed. And we haven't changed like men in power being threatened by women in power. We haven't changed with religious thinking versus scientific. Like none of it. It's all still very, very active and alive, and prejudice and ignorance. It's all, I mean, we've evolved in some ways. Like our technology is out of this world, but like at the root of it, we can't really allow for things to thrive side by side,
right?
Which is really sad.
Yeah.
So I walked out of that movie and I was like so angry and so sad, and my mom was really bummed out too. But I was like, I have not been affected by that movie, by a movie as much as that one in a really, really long time.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. My movies aren't as heavy.
That's my only heavy one. Everything else is not at that level.
All right, Maverick.
Yeah.
Made me want to learn how to play poker.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of things in that movie that it probably got me into, like being able to do cool flip stuff with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really pursue that all. With poker, it made me want to learn about poker some. Every time my brothers and I play cards, pretty much, even when we play Magic, we do the thing of where he picks the card up and slowly puts it over his face, like you know what I mean, when he wants to draw a certain card at the end and he just imagines it and slowly puts it in front of him and opens his eyes and tosses the card. That's a common thing in
that movie. What made me want to take a bath in a place that had baths side by side.
Yeah, that's a good. That movie also was I'm not going to spoil it, but that was kind of spoiling it. It's an old movie.
It's a very old movie.
Yeah, but it had one of my favorite twist reveals too, which I still am like, it's a little bit far-fetched, maybe a tiny bit, but whatever. I love that movie.
I have never watched that movie from beginning to end.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie.
They used to play it on TV a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I would see like scenes, so I'm familiar with things here and there, but I have never once seen it.
It's my favorite Mel Gibson movie, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I guess we have something we need to watch.
Him had his best.
This is just a list of things that we've got to watch.
Yep.
So we can share it with each other. We should watch Agora so that you can see me get real mad.
All right.
And then we can watch Maverick so we can be happy.
Yeah. Cool. What do you got next?
Okay. Sorry that I took up so much time with my
Don't be sorry at all.
My next one is your suggestion when you were helping me with my list.
Oh, yeah.
Whip It, which was it directed by Drew Barrymore?
Yeah.
I loved that movie when it came out, and I still like it a lot. It's a movie that's about women in roller derby, and it follows one main character played by Ellen Page, and who lives like in a pretty small town, and nothing's like super exciting, I think is what I remember. And then she starts doing roller derby, and she starts to figure out who she is and what kind of life she wants to live and who she wants to be. And it made me want to play roller derby so bad.
And I think it was the Halloween after that you dressed up.
Yeah, I made that costume.
Yeah. Was it based on like a team in the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, it was all green, and so it was kind of nodding towards her team.
Was it kind of like a Girl Scouts uniform? A little bit too. Mm-hmm. Was it from a Girl Scouts uniform? Then you changed it or no?
Mine, I think I did use some of my old Girl Scouts uniform. It's funny to think that there was a time in my adulthood that I could have worn my childhood Girl Scouts uniform. Not true today. But it was very fun. And it also made me look into that sport. It's a really fun sport. And it's also brutal. Like, it's brutal. the women who play roller derby are fierce. Like, you have to know that you are going to be banged up like crazy. And if you want to try to play it, you can absolutely try out. Tryouts are open to like everybody, but you've got to like be ready to get knocked down and rolled over and checked and just like all this stuff. But it was really fun to watch, and I loved the soundtrack to that movie. So good.
I think my brother Stuart went to a live one once with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said it was fun.
Yeah, it seems like it was.
They have them in
so good.
more kind of
Like Oakland.
Yeah, and then they have it, I think, in probably cities like Fresno and Bakersfield. I think they probably have that there.
Yeah,
a lot of people, but I still feel like the cities where it's like, oh, there's a lot of people live there. How come it's known for there being like nothing there?
Yeah,
who knows?
Who knows?
Stockton, Modesto.
Those just make me feel hot.
Yeah,
because anytime I've been through them, I've been driving through them through summer.
Yeah, Reading is one of those that I just think of as being hot. That's all. I don't know anything else about it.
I don't know anything else about those towns.
Maybe it's a great city.
Because the roads that we drive through or drive on don't usually pass like through the downtowns of those towns.
Right.
They're like right next door. So it's like
Yeah.
cornfields and hot.
Yep.
And dust.
Nice. All right. All right. One movie that made me interested in writing and making movies is Last Action Hero.
Nice.
Because that is one, at the age I was at, it was a big action movie, but it really was different than anything I've ever seen. I had ever seen at that point, and they really played around with plot lines and different kind of characters, and it just it was one of those where I watched and I was like, oh, there are no rules. They can do whatever they want in a movie. And it just was, just going back and forth between the movie world and the other world and some. And yeah, I just, it's one of those where I felt like, oh, they have an animated character in here. And of course it's supposed to be ridiculous because in the movie world, but it kind of also points out that movies, you don't have to have rules.
Yeah.
Things don't have to make sense if you don't want them to, or you know what I mean? So that kind of made me go like, oh, the movies are more interesting than I thought they were. The more of an art form.
A screenwriter was born.
Yeah.
And his name was Philip.
I haven't written any big action movies though. I've written screenplays with action scenes.
Horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been your genre so far. Genre.
All right. That was going somewhere.
Thanks for that musical break.
Yeah. All right. What do you got next?
My next one is Little Women. And it's not the one from the 1940s. It's not any like BBC adaptation. I haven't seen any miniseries. The one that I grew up watching was the American one with Winona Ryder, Claire Danes, Susan Sarandon, all these like big named actors.
Just make you want to learn how to cry all the time.
First of all, this is not the first movie that I will say this on this list. It made me want to live in Victorian times or be in a movie. And like, I partially said that one because you said specifically be in a movie, because then you would be able to wear all these cool, awesome costumes. But it also made me want to be a writer because Jo March is a writer. Her whole life, all she wants to do is write, and she does. And like, no matter what that means, being a woman who writes, she does it. And I always wanted to do the same thing.
It's a kind of a sad. What happened? Does she die?
Well, she doesn't die, but her sister does.
Her sister does.
There's one very, very sweet sister who never does anything wrong ever, and she's the one who gets sick and passes away.
Okay.
And so it's like right at the tail end of the Civil War, and so it's about life for this family of all women, and it's a beautiful movie.
It's like Jurassic Park. All dinosaurs were female.
Yeah, but all the dinosaurs wear corsets. Yeah.
T-Rex just be so annoyed.
Teeny arms and a teeny waist.
Yeah.
Nailing it.
Should I do another one?
Yes, please.
All right. This is the movie The Room made me want to learn everything I could about Tommy Wiseau.
No.
The Room,
yes, I understand.
Which is it's mainstream now. People know what it is for the most part.
Yes.
Tommy Wiseau is such an interesting guy.
He is an enigma.
And that movie just made me want to learn everything about his life.
Yes.
And he's still able to keep a lot of it a mystery to people.
Yeah, with this age, The age of the
Yeah.
internet. He is a blank, complete blank. Whatever fiction he's created of his life, it's the truth.
Yeah. And there's the book Disaster Artist, which is fantastic.
Yes.
That talks about it. That kind of it basically says, this could be what happened to him.
Yeah. And
Not sure.
Not 100%.
He's just such a unique character.
Mm-hmm.
So that movie was pretty exciting for me.
Yeah. That was right up your alley.
You got another one?
I do.
Cool.
I have 5 more.
Oh, wow.
This one's a
Nice.
twofer, though. So technically 4 more.
All right.
All right. So this is Willy Wonka and Chocolat. The two of them made me want to become a chocolatier or a candy maker. I wanted to totally be somebody who made awesome candies like
Nice.
Willy Wonka. Because like growing up and seeing that movie, lickable wallpaper, what a nightmare. But also, what a dream for a kid. And then like Chocolat, everything was made out of chocolate. She not only like made candy chocolate, but she cooked with chocolate. So there were like chicken dishes with like chocolate sauces. I was like, what is this? And who came up with all of this? I would love to have this life where you live in a French town and just cook and make chocolates. Like, what? Yes. Okay. If that's my income, fantastic.
Did they ever show in Willy Wonka where they actually make the chocolate?
I don't know that they had different scenes where you would see like machines. I think they were like, I might be crossing over the two movies. I honestly haven't seen it in so long, but I feel like they were like during the tour of the chocolate factory.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
you
remember.
saw like different,
because they had
they had like the
machine where
TV
they showed
room.
they had to do the everlasting gobstoppers.
Right. I don't know. Well, they had the chocolate river.
Right, but it's like the river chocolate was already flowing through it.
Right.
I guess the actual just
Because the chocolate has to be kept at a certain,
yeah.
it has to be kept at a certain temperature. So it's at a certain viscosity. I don't know that we ever saw any more than that, other than a child drowning in chocolate in a pipe. There's no way that kid lived.
Well, apparently I've read that none of them actually died. It's supposed to be that they
it's
all
supposed to be that the
got
Oompa
collected somewhere
Loompas
else.
like pull them out
yeah.
from wherever and like actually do. But I go like, I would hold my breath when I would watch the movie when I was a kid, and I was like,
Yeah. Everybody all the kids in the movie just go to some weird dimension.
Yeah.
It's just nightmares forever. That's how it was for me as a
Just
kid.
that
It's just like, it
tunnel.
was just a terrifying world.
I never got terrified by it. I was just like, this world's a bummer, but that factory, scary but awesome.
Yeah.
Like if that was a horror movie and a candy factory, ooh, Phil.
I remember the Oompa Loompas freaked me out. Then I felt really guilty that they freaked me out. And I felt like I was like a bigot or something. And then I
Because
just remember,
you were afraid of Oompa Loompas.
yeah, and it was just like, but the creepy thing is just how they just show up and their emotions are just, they're just very neutral emotions all the time.
I'm so sorry.
And they just come and
But
just
you were
take kids
afraid
away.
You were a bigot because of Oompa Loompas. Like Oompa Loompas took little people and just made like really weird like childlike outfits
Yeah.
and then like crazy wigs and like all this like
Creepy
makeup that they were
songs.
really weird. It's so like that's scary, but
Yeah.
Oompa Loompas aren't real, so you can't be bigoted against them.
Right. But it was just like, I remember as a little kid at one point
The
going like,
idea
wait, am I?
Of you as a kid going,
not
am I a bigot?
Yeah. Just felt guilty. And then I realized, no, that's not what I'm scared of.
No, the characters of Oompa Loompas were scary.
Yep.
You reacted appropriately. Oh my gosh. You as a child, one of my favorite things.
Let me do another one. How about this?
I will let you do another one.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with this is a quick one. The movie Hackers.
Mm-hmm.
I knew when I saw it, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
But I was like, right? And so I wanted to learn a little bit more about how computers and the internet actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, there's no way it's anything like this, right?
Right.
And then I talked to my brother and looked up some stuff. It's like, yeah, this is that's not accurate. But that's a movie that, not because like that stuff's so cool, I want to know about it. It was me going, this has to be just the dumbest movie ever made, right? And in many ways it is.
In many ways it is, but it's also so fantastic.
Yeah, I still enjoy watching
and
it.
it's some of the 90s that I'm just like, oh my God.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool.
My next one is the miniseries Anne of Green Gables, which was more like a TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm referring to the one from the 80s with Megan Follows. That one, my childhood in a nutshell. I
Mhm.
love that thing to my dying day. But the whole journey of the main character, Anne, is that she eventually becomes a teacher, an educator. Didn't make me want to become a teacher. It made me instead want to farm in a delightful small Victorian Canadian town. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to. She also wrote stories too. So like that fed into the whole Jo March being a writer thing. But it made me want to live in this Canadian town and see those places and live in a town that was like that.
Do you know what part of Canada it took place in? Do you know if it's
Prince Edward Island.
Okay.
Yeah, which is it more
I don't know where it
Nova
is.
Scotia-y? But it's like, I think off the same coast.
Okay.
And so it was just like this flipping beautiful place.
Did they have snow ever?
Yes.
So yeah, it's probably.
They had all the seasons.
Wait, yeah, Canada has snow.
Yeah,
a lot of
all of
places.
Canada
Never
has
mind.
snow. But no, like this place was just beautiful. And, you know, it was just so nice.
I'm going to do another one then.
Mm-hmm.
The movie Ghostbusters made me care about ghosts some.
Yep.
I was scared of ghosts until I was like 20 or so probably. And I saw Ghostbusters when I was, like probably 3 or something like that. But that at least made
informed
me
the rest of your life.
Yeah, but Ghostbusters kind of made me not it. I was scared of ghosts, but I was also I went like, it's kind of interesting. That'd be cool to be able to find ghosts, and it made it a little less scary because they're so cartoony and stuff too. And I think that's where even though I still lean towards not believing in ghosts, it's still, I think that movie made me interested in it, and without just being terrified, but in a fun way. Like it would be fun if I actually found a ghost.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
What do you got next?
My next one is the BBC Chronicles of Narnia movies / miniseries. I don't know how they were originally released, so it's like they're just block movies.
Yeah.
So TV movies. But they made me want to A, be magical, and B, a queen with a quest, because I wanted a crown, I wanted to live in Cair Paravel, and I wanted talking animals that I would journey around this like beautiful magical place with and have tea with those animals and like also fight with cool swords. So those were my goals.
Nice.
For like years of my life.
We didn't achieve a lot of these goals we had.
This is a tragedy.
Yeah.
This show's a real tragedy.
Movie Big Trouble in Little China. Maybe you want to learn about Chinatown.
Nice.
In San Francisco, because obviously when I saw it, I knew that it wasn't realistic.
Yes.
And I knew that there weren't magical people there and stuff. But they make Chinatown seem like this just giant place with this like huge underground and all these different
and
things.
we know that different parts of the city do have crazy like underground spaces because things were built at different levels, built on top of, and like they did have to store stuff underground. And so it like kind of seemed a little plausible.
Yeah, and I don't think like any of it was actually filmed in Chinatown.
None.
But it made me interested in the history of Chinatown some, and the different gangs, and just what made it why is that area, like, I think it's the most densely populated place with Japanese people outside of Japan, if that makes sense. I said that very poorly, but
there's a huge population of
yeah.
Asian peoples in San Francisco.
Yeah. And so I learned about it, and there's some every part of San Francisco has cool history because so much has gone on there. But Chinatown has some real interesting things too, and it's interesting how like self-contained it is in a way.
Well, it's also interesting that Chinatown still exists as a community,
and
as
it's
like
not
a cultural
just
center,
a tourist place
right?
anymore,
Because like if you come to a city, you
Not
immediately
anymore,
look at everything as if it's a tourist trap. But no, like this is actually where people were relegated in a not so great way.
Yeah,
but like generations of people have lived in Chinatown, and like there are families that stretch back that can like really give you in-depth histories of that like section of a town, and it's really, really cool to know that, like, I don't know, I just like it when people have communal interest. And I feel like Chinatown is one of those places where people are like, no, we want to make sure that our community thrives.
Right.
Yeah.
it's not just a place that has like Chinese themed restaurants. And,
No, like, you know, bummer white people didn't just move in and like take over somebody's cultural identity. Like, people have changed what it is because bummer white people come in and they're like, we want to spend money on stuff. But like, there's cool everything. I love, I don't know. I think that Chinatown is one of the most amazing parts of our city. Thank you, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you have? Like 3 more? 2 more?
I have 1 more.
Oh, 1 more. All right.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Or is it the Chamber of Secrets? Sorcerer's Stone. Whichever one is the first one. I was just going to say the Harry Potter franchise, but whichever one the first one is. I wanted to be a witch so bad. I was
Sorcerer's Stone?
I think that in America it was the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, okay.
And in the UK and Europe it was Philosopher's Stone.
All right, sorry. Please
I made that sound like I was so exhausted that you needed to clarify that, but I'm glad you did. I loved the world of Harry Potter, and I'm not the only one, but because like I've always been an Anglophile. I've always loved like the UK, and I've always loved other places too, but I've always loved the UK and like castles and all of that business. And this like totally fed into that 100%, where there was regular like suburbia UK, but there were also castles and a magical train that took you to that castle. And who doesn't want to get a letter in the mail that says, we want you because you're a witchlet.
If there's a draft.
We don't want that letter. No, that's why I continue to say witchlet or male witch. We want you to learn magic. Like I would, they were just so cool. And the movies turned out to be so good. Like such great adaptations. I still have arguments with certain parts of the stories that were left out. I always will, and I will stand by them. But the way that they made that world come to life in the movies, I was like, great. So when's my flight?
Yeah.
Hogwarts, here I come. Story of Ariel. What's yours?
Next one, I've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh my God.
Because the way that it was presented, like I think I might have seen the remake first actually, but it was presented where it's like true story, and they have at the beginning, at the very end, they have things and they say it's actual footage of blah 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 of Leatherface. And I was watching, I don't think that it's based on true story, but it might be. So I looked, and they like a lot of the kind of slasher movies and stuff in that time are loose, like they're inspired some by Ed Gein, who was a guy who killed people in Wisconsin and did stuff with their body parts, like made lampshades and furniture and stuff, I think. So it kind of made me, it basically, I watched that and went, this didn't actually happen, did it? And then I just kind of started learning about true crime stuff. And I think that movie got me into true crime some because, it was insane. And then it, on the same, I don't know, related to that is Zodiac. I was interested in the Zodiac killer stuff before that. Growing up in the Bay Area, it was interesting and scary. But then seeing the movie made me want to dive in even more. And there's still every week there's like some kind of new piece of information released that is usually debunked immediately. But people are still interested, and people still think that with the new technology and everything, a lot of people are confident that someday we'll solve the case. But I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
I'm so relieved that went down the route of I wanted to look into this more.
Of course.
For a second, I was like, wait, what did this make you want to do? No.
I'm trying to see if there are any more non-documentary movies. 1408. We have I think we just, we have about 6 more minutes, and then we've got Full Circle Sessions with DJ Saeed from 3 to 5. So make sure to stay tuned. But yep, I've also got 1408. Maybe I want to go visit haunted hotel rooms and read about that in haunted hotels. So I went and researched that some. That was fun. And then documentaries, there are a lot. Amanda Knox, that made me dive into that case. I thought it was real interesting. Of course, now I can't. Oh, Paradise Lost, that introduced me to West Memphis 3.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about a lot of documentaries already in other episodes, so I don't really need to do that too much. All right. Cool. That was my list.
Hey, that was my list.
Good. We have 4 more minutes. Couple things. I want to first just mention the June 30th at the Phoenix Theater is the KPCA Presents concert. Tickets are $10. It's all ages. We have 4 Bay Area bands: Nervous Lovers, The Y-Axes, New Spell, Flower Flower. It's the first concert that is presented by KPCA. So, it starts at 8 p.m. June 30th, $10, all ages. It's going to be fun. Support the Phoenix Theater. It's a great nonprofit, community, community-focused based theater. So, great bands. I'm excited. I think you should be too. Yeah. More people there, the more fun it'll be.
It'll be very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to do a quick trivia thing before we go? Okay. The first part, you have to be quick. This is the first part. I'm gonna name a movie. You have to quickly name a character in the movie.
Okay.
Character name, that's it. First, last name, whatever. Hunger Games.
Katniss Everdeen.
All right. Star Wars.
Luke Skywalker.
Star Trek.
James T. Kirk.
Nice. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Indiana Jones.
Nice. Legend. The 1985 one.
Oof. Darkness.
Nice. A Knight's Tale.
Chaucer.
Right. The Last Unicorn.
Molly Grew.
And Moulin Rouge.
Christian.
All right. Nice. Now, same group of movies, different order. I'm going to name a character. You have to say which of those movies this character is from. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be as quick this time.
Okay. I'll stop gripping the microphone.
Amanda Grayson. Amanda Grayson. This is obviously tougher.
Is that...
The name is Amanda Grayson.
But that's a more... What were the movies again?
I can't tell you.
Hunger Games?
No, that was from Star Trek.
Darn.
That was, I think, Winona Ryder's character's name in the reboot.
Oh.
I think that was Spock's mom.
Oh.
I think that's it.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Mommy Fortuna.
Last Unicorn.
Nice. Caesar Flickerman.
Caesar Flickerman. Oh, that's from Hunger Games.
Nice. Stanley Tucci's character.
Mm-hmm.
Meg Mucklebones.
I'm going to say The Last Unicorn.
No, Legend. There's only one per movie.
That's right.
John Thatcher.
John Thatcher is from Knight's Tale.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
The Unconscious Argentinian.
Raiders of the Lost Ark?
No, Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
Marion.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Last one, Uncle Owen.
Uncle Owen is from Star Wars.
Good job.
I was not as good at it that time around.
No, you did well though. That's a tough. If I didn't do the first part where I named the movie, do you think you would have gotten the same ones that you got the second part? Does that make sense?
No, because it was hard to remember the names of the movies.
Yeah,
which was really nice to have that.
Nice. See, you're good.
Oh, you were good.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, shake it, darn dang.
Hey, so I don't think I really have anything else to say. Thanks for listening, of course, and remember to stick around for Full Circle sessions with DJ Saeed. It's gonna be with you from 3 to 5, and then we have live archive with Ed Pearlstein from 5 to 7. And then tune in Sunday for a lot more shows. And then we'll be back next week. I don't know who the ghost or the guest will be. Maybe you'll be Ariel again. Who knows?
Mystery.
Yep. Tune in and see. And if you want to see the schedule of KPCA, you go to kpca.fm. Click on the big schedule button, link, circle, whatever you want to call it. And you can follow this show and, blah, blah, blah. The show, the Instagram, @Phil&Ariel, Twitter, @Phil&Ariel. You'll find stuff about this show. Email the station at kpca.fm. Email us, philandariel@gmail.com. I've given out a bunch of information. I hope you guys like it.
Yay!
Thank you very much. And thanks, Ariel, for being a guest.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.